Hello, and welcome to Caffeine Entertainment. I'm Mental9R, and this is episode 4 of the GMX podcast, part 2. Yes, that's right, we did split it up into different parts, so if you missed part 1, you might want to go back and watch that first. If not, just feel free to watch part 2 right now. If you're new to the show and you haven't been with us before, please hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the show, and don't be afraid to hit that like button on your way out. If you don't like the show, don't be afraid to hit that thumbs down and let us know why you didn't like it in the comments, because we're new to this and we're just trying to get better. So we appreciate your feedback. With all of that out of the way, let me bring on my good friend and co-host, Finn Tintin. Hello and welcome back to the GMSX podcast. Man, I'm having a hard time saying that today. And yes, it is the same day as we recorded part 1. We're just doing it in 2 different parts. This is part 2 of the GMX podcast, episode 4. Thanks for coming back and joining us. As usual, I am here with my good friend, Finn Tintin. How you doing 10 minutes after we finished recording the first one?
Of course, this is all a big ruse. It's actually 3 days later, but we didn't want to reveal the fact. Why are we wearing the same T-shirt and we haven't showered?
Well, yeah, there is that. But anyway, I'm trying to keep these.
I was going to say at the end of the last video, not only hit the like or subscribe if you like the video. If you ever want to get any tips about how to make your videos professional and well edited and make it look seamless, Mike. Mental9R is your man.
Yep, for sure. Just watch more of our videos because, damn it, you will learn the most professional way to do everything just by watching us. This conversation doesn't just happen. This is a lot of effort and it takes practice. So, yeah, feel free to watch all our videos. Anyway, why don't we get right into it so that we can keep this one as short as we can. The last one ran about a half an hour, so these topics may not last as long. Maybe we'll get through this one a little quicker, and then we'll be wishing that we split it up different, but that's all part of the professionalism. Don't forget. So I'll share the next article, and we can continue. This one is an opinion piece that was written. It says your favorite video game doesn't need a remake. There's a lot of huge fans of Bloodborne on the PS4. And frankly, I see this on Twitter all the time. I see it on other podcasts. PlayStation, why are you remaking The Last of Us Part 2 and not Bloodborne? I think if they remade Bloodborne, it would sell like crazy, especially if they put it on PC. I know there would be a massive audience for it. And frankly, I find it kind of mind-blowing that they haven't done this yet when they are remastering games that are literally just a few years old. Why are they leaving Bloodborne behind, Finn?
But Bloodborne isn't that old anyway, and it still looks okay. Like, I played it not so long ago. Okay, I'm going to get...
Did you actually play it, or did you just play the little intro and the first castle thing and then leave? Because that's what I've done like 6 times because I just don't get into it. But
I played it for a bit. Like, it's one of these Demon Soul things where, it's
a Soulsborne game.
Yeah, it's like the enemies are impossibly difficult, and, it gets quite frustrating if you're not into that type of thing. So I didn't play it all the way through, but I did spend a good few hours in it until I got to a boss in some graveyard somewhere that I was like, oh man, life's too short for this crap.
Well, this is the problem, folks. When you get old like Finn, I'm still pretty young. He's very much older than me. Mm-hmm. And when you get as old as him, you start to realize your own mortality, and you don't have time to waste on games that you're not necessarily like right into, or maybe not even the best at. He's getting old, the reflexes get slower, things happen, you die. That's how it goes. But
yeah, I'm not buying any green bananas, let me put it like that.
You never know if they'll ripen before you're gone. I hear you. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. I've tried playing it multiple times, and it's just one of those games that, at the time I thought it looked pretty good. Now when I look at the game, I think it could use a refresh because it looks pretty rough to me. But I just know it would sell. Like just having a 60 FPS version on PlayStation would do wonders for the game, because I feel that 30 FPS bad. Like, it feels clunky to me, and that's part of the reason I just have no interest in playing it. And having that on PC at like 120 or 144 frames or whatever frames you can pump at it, the game would feel immensely better to me, and I might even be interested. I go back to Spider-Man 1, the 2018 version. Tried to play that 3 times on my PS4. Could never get into it. Started playing it on PC when it finally came out on PC, and was in it, and that was it. I just played it right through to the end.
Yeah,
Completely different game at high frame rate.
to me, it depends on what we mean, right? You do a remaster of it, like, or a complete reimagining. I like the reimaginings; like, they are good. Like, I was not a fan of The Last of Us remastered. I didn't think it did enough with. I mean, I love the game. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they
Wait.
did
The Last of Us Part 1 or Part 2?
part one. Like, I
Okay,
don't.
because
I
I've
don't.
played that game 3 times.
No. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the game. It just doesn't add enough to the experience for me. Like, it doesn't. Like, it's some nicer graphics, sure, but it just doesn't add enough to the game for me. Whereas if I look at something like Resident Evil, for example, or even Final Fantasy VII, like, those are new games based on the premise of the old game, but they're new games. So
You into
that's
Final Fantasy? I didn't know you played Final Fantasy. Did you play
I,
that?
yeah, I played some of them quite a lot, but seven, I kind of missed it the first time round. But when the remastered version or reimagined version, whatever they're calling it, I did pick it up and I played that for a bit as well. I'm not the
Oh, so
biggest
you didn't
fan.
finish it.
No, I didn't finish it.
You
but
ain't got time for that.
yeah, no, but I have finished other Final Fantasy games.
Okay.
But yeah,
Sure.
hey, I know all about Cloud and Final Fantasy X. That's one of my favorite
Okay.
games. But
Okay.
but
I'll give
yeah,
it to
like
you.
the uh, I just don't get it. Like, what? Like, I would prefer they do new stuff or completely, rebuild it from the ground up. I don't.
Well,
I'm not as big as we've said this before many times. I'm not as big as a fan of the eye candy as you are. So if that's all I'm getting, better graphics and a higher refresh rate, I'm like, yeah, not that interested.
no, I will say I'm more into the remakes than the
Yeah,
remasters, because the remake usually that involves updated control schemes, and they fix a lot of the things that don't translate well in games today. Like, man, a lot of the old controls were pretty freaking clunky, and that's why I like the remake over the remaster. Remasters usually refresh graphics. That's it. They usually
yeah,
don't touch anything else. Uh, that said, you mentioned Resident Evil 2, 3, 4. Those remakes were great. Enjoyed every single one of them. Resident Evil, Biohazard, of course, and Village. Those are just newer games, but those were great too. Like 7 and 8 were great as well. I'm really hoping like that they do remake 5, 6, and work their way up to 7, right? And
yeah.
I think that'd be great to see that from Capcom. I don't know if they will. And where's 1? Why didn't they redo 1? I mean, they kind of remastered it. It's quite a long time ago, though, and it just doesn't live up to what you get in 2, 3, and 4, right? Like, I'd love
Mhm.
to see them, remake 1 and kind of modernize it. But we're kind of off topic of Bloodborne. I'm just
No,
saying.
I think the reason I brought up this though in general is that the whole trend of doing remakes or remasters, at least, again, remakes I'm okay with, and again, to throw other examples your way, like remaking Doom, remaking Wolfenstein, cool. Like, that is a
Yeah.
game of a different genre that you can bring that whatever you can bring that ethos into the modern age and make it
Yeah.
a completely new game. But I just don't see the point of remaking a game or remastering a game rather that has just been out a couple of years ago, even 5 or 6 years ago. And I gotta give you another example of a game I
Well,
love, like Witcher 3. Like, they did a big update on that. It wasn't enough to make me go back and scratch and do it all over again. I went in, admired the new graphics, that's all great and all that. And I guess it will pick up a new audience, which is fine. But for me, having played the original Witcher 3, yeah, I don't see the point almost.
yeah. So I'm turning my lights down a little bit. Is that too much? That's where they were. That's off topic. Okay. I'm just turning them down a bit because they're bugging my eyes. They're a little too bright. So Yeah, I mean, like I say, for me, if they did more of a remaster is probably all this game could use, and the remaster would just be there. All they really need to do, release it on PC, and it'll make tons. Like they'll probably sell like a couple million copies of it, no problem. I would not be surprised at all. It's a bit of a bizarre one. I don't understand why they're staying away from that, but yeah, is what it is. I agree with this comment or this headline though. Remake overload. Sony's just done way too much of that, and the Last of Us 2 one. If you actually look at the comparison between like just screen caps of the original versus the remaster, it's kind of laughable. They didn't really do anything with it.
How old is that game? It's like 2 years old or something. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
It's 2017, 2018. It came out.
Last of Us Part 2.
It came out on PS4 originally, right? So near the end of the PS4 gen. So maybe it was like 2019, perhaps. 2018, 2019, though, is I think when it came out.
As you said, I got confused due to my advanced years. 2020.
Well, okay, so it was yeah. So there you go, right before the PS5. I mean, it looked I didn't own it on PS4. But, from what I saw of it, it looked pretty good, right? Pretty decent. It played at 60 FPS on PS5. It really didn't need a remaster that added virtually nothing to it. I ended up getting the remastered version because, I wanted the PS5 version, but whatever.
Anyway. So the Last of Us Part 1 remastered, that made sense to me in a way, even though I still wouldn't buy it. It kind of made sense to me because Last of Us Part 2 had come out, big new game. At the same time, to re-release the original for a new generation of console. Yeah, I get it, right? And it looks better. But how old was The Last of Us Part 1 at that point? It was getting on a bit. Last of Us Part 2 is not old.
Yeah. No, it's just not. And to come out with a remaster just a few years later, it's pretty crazy. But I think they're doing it. Like, the game's probably going to drop on PC anytime now. Yeah. I don't know if there's been a release date announced about that or not. I have no idea. But it wouldn't surprise me, if it's out in but before the end of the year on
So
PC.
The Last of Us was originally released in 2013. So by the time the remaster came out, it must have been like 7-8 years old almost. Whereas
it was a remaster of a remaster.
Yeah, whereas Last of Us 2 is now only like just getting on 4 years old or 3 and a bit years old. So I don't know, it's too soon for me.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. So anyway, why don't we move on from the remasters and retakes and re-this and re-that's, and we'll go on to another topic that is Xbox announcing on Twitter that Xbox Games application is coming to Amazon's FireTV, which I think is pretty cool. Another cheap entry point and a way for people to be able to play video games. I'm a fan of people being able to play. More people that play, the better the likelihood is we get good games, because there's more money spent in the industry and it keeps things healthy. Considering you can buy a Fire Stick, these are US prices, for $59.99 for the 4K one, or the 4K Max, and then just the standard 4K is $49.99. That's a pretty cheap entry point. You throw in a controller. These are US prices, of course, I'm guessing. Xbox.com, US. So, for us Canadians, you double it and you're about in the right ballpark. It's not that bad, but it's it'll be significantly more expensive. But anyway, and then throw in a controller and you're good to go. It's definitely cheaper than buying a console. I used game streaming just like last week. I forget which game. Oh, I loaded up Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Just through Xbox Cloud on my Xbox. I think I loaded it on my Xbox One X, actually, and just kind of went through a bit of the intro stuff with game streaming, and it actually wasn't bad. It seems like it's hit and miss. Sometimes the wait time is stupid. I don't know. Have you used the Xbox Cloud at all?
I haven't. Like I'm when I saw the Fire Stick though, I was like, geez, that was a pretty I don't know, like low tech option for playing games. I I am incredibly curious as to how well it plays on the Fire
It should
Stick.
play the same because all the compute's done in the data center.
Yeah,
It's
and
really
also
just receiving that stream, and I assume it's Wi-Fi only. I don't have a Fire Stick. Is there an Ethernet
yeah,
port on them, or they're Wi-Fi only?
no, no, I have a bunch of Fire Sticks. I have 4K ones as well, but
Well, you should
yeah,
see if the app's available. I'd
yeah,
be curious. You could
I'll
give
check
us.
it
You
out.
could. Yeah, you could
Like
tell us how it
the
works.
part the part that doesn't compute is more up here, to be honest. I'm like, how can they do that? Like, and
Yeah.
when like we were just talking about in the other in part one or part A, the
Part one. It's always ones and twos. There's never A's and B's. It's ones and twos.
okay, whatever you say, boss. Whatever, like, yeah, I'm just very curious as to how well it plays, and I'll check it out and I'll report back.
Yeah, no, for sure. Hopefully yours supports it. I don't know if it maybe it's too old. Like they say 2023. So do you need one from last year to make it
Oh,
work? I don't know.
I didn't notice that part of it, but like I got the
Yeah,
4K.
if you look,
Yeah.
well, look right there. Fire Stick 4K Max 2023 for
Hmm.
$59.99, and then the Fire Stick 4K for 49 at
Then maybe it
2023.
won't work.
So yeah, maybe your older ones won't have the same,
Yeah.
and it could be down to what Wi-Fi is built into them. Like I imagine this will need Wi-Fi 6 for 4K.
Well,
Probably, right? I don't think it'll be working on with Wi-Fi 5 too well.
it's Prime Day in Canada in about 2 weeks, I think. So you'll
Oh
probably be able
yeah,
to pick up a Fire Stick for like about the US price.
yeah, yeah. Sad as that. Finally get to pay U.S. prices. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I might even consider one just to be able to try it.
Yeah.
Could be interesting. I mean,
Uh,
I do
uh,
have the Google TV stuff, but I don't have the Amazon stuff. And been thinking about trying Alexa because Google is dumb as a stump now. I don't know what they've done, but it is way worse. Like the voice recognition, the ability to do simple things, it was 10 times better 6 years ago than it is today. It's
Yeah,
just trash now.
I a billion percent agree with you. Like I have
It's
Google.
absolute crap.
You can actually see a Google Nest behind me there. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know what they're doing, but stop it. Whatever you're doing, stop doing
Yeah.
that.
Revert your code back to the stuff from 6 years ago or whenever it first came out, because it understood almost anything I asked it to do. It nailed it first time. Now I can't even get it to play a playlist off of YouTube music that I have. It
It's funny
doesn't get
actually.
it. It's just dumb as a stump.
It's funny. It's just as a one-off example. So I have Alexas as well. Like, and you can link your Spotify account to Alexa. When
Yeah.
I have a Spotify premium account. Whenever I tell Alexa to play whatever, give me some Black Keys or give me Black Keys Lonely Boy, some song that I want to listen to, it plays it right off. Whenever I say ask Google, it says you need a premium account to play. Hey, I have a premium account. It's linked to your one. So what it does, so there's stupidity layers upon stupidity. Number one, it tells me you need a premium account, which I do have, and is linked to my Google account. And it says you can't choose individual songs without a premium account. Okay, and then it proceeds to say, but here's a playlist of other songs you may like, and proceeds to play the song I want to play. Well, with all this BS in front of it, very irritating.
Can't stand
Google,
it.
stop
Can't
it,
stand
man.
it.
Stop it.
Yeah, you suck, Google. You absolutely suck. I'm still waiting. Do you remember that demo? We're way off topic, but do you remember the demo they did on stage with the Google Assistant phoning your dentist office to make an appointment for you on a specific day? You ever see that demo? It's all
Yeah.
super impressive. I don't think it could phone and order me a piece of bubble gum. Like the thing is just trash. It can't do anything. And then lately now my Pixel phone, the call screening quit working on it. So what's up with that? That's I don't know. It's dumb.
Is that why you're
Anyway,
answering my calls at last?
yeah, now I have to answer because I don't know. I can't. I just yeah. Anyway, I guess the one thing that I think this is a very interesting partnership between Amazon and Xbox. So now you got like a lot of people have Amazon Prime. On Amazon Prime, you've got Fallout 4 is on that service,
Yeah.
and you consider that. I mean, they mentioned that down here. It's kind of a nice partnership because now people will be able to play Fallout 4 off their Fire Stick where they're
That's crazy. It
streaming the
boggles
video.
my
It's
mind
crazy.
that you could be able to do that. But as I say, I'll be very curious. And you know what? I will commit to, if my Fire Stick doesn't support it, I will buy a new Fire Stick just to try it out
Yeah.
because I'm super curious about it and how good it can be. My my sense always when I hear these things, and maybe I'm completely incorrect, but my sense is always like they're not really going for the hardcore gamers; they're going for the casual gamers. And
Oh,
I
for
think
sure. 100%.
and they will get some, I'm sure, especially
Yeah.
like I would think that rather than Starfield, maybe some games like, I don't know, Candy Crush or something, whatever the hell are the casual games, or Bejeweled, available on Xbox Game Pass, or Tetris or something. But yeah, like it was funny that they called out something like Hellblade and Starfield, or Forza, for God's sake, as
Oh,
something you could play in it.
I played Hellblade 2 on my Xbox One through streaming just to see how it was. Played perfectly fine because
Hmm.
it's a slow kind of pace game,
Right.
and given how a lot of the encounters you have they're quite scripted in the way it works, it feels fine playing
But
it through
even
streaming.
but Starfield wasn't always fine, even on the Xbox. So
Yeah,
I'd be very curious to see it through. But yeah, like, you know what, the jury's out for now. I'm
yeah, we'll
super
see.
interested on how it will work.
Yeah. So, given this partnership, I asked the question, hot take. Does this mean we'll see Amazon Luna Cloud app come to Xbox? Now, I think that's probably a possibility that, Microsoft might make that deal where they put Luna on Xbox. Now, there's not a lot of first party games from Amazon. The only one that comes to mind, I don't know, there might be more, but is New World. And New World was quite popular, and you can't get it on Xbox, you can't get it on PlayStation. But with Amazon Luna, which I hear is actually a fairly good service with their cloud streaming, hey, they throw that on Xbox, maybe that's a deal they can work out. I have a lot of games for it because I get them free from my Prime account that I've got with Amazon anyway, and I'm using that. It's linked to my Twitch account. So there's these constant giveaways of free games all the time. So I
Yeah.
have a lot of games on Luna that I never play. But if there was an app on my Xbox where I could just sit down and stream them, maybe I would play them. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if they do it. To me, that's how a partnership should work. You each give a little bit, and you
Yeah.
help each other's business, right? That's what partnerships mean. So I don't know. Maybe my hot take will come to fruition one day. Maybe it's just a dumb take and not a hot take. I don't know, but we'll see. Time will tell. That's all I've got for this topic. Why don't we move on unless there's any final thoughts you have?
Nope, let's go.
All right. So the June update for Xbox consoles. A few things in here I thought were interesting. Do you want to go first on this one and
Yeah.
pass your thoughts on?
I've never been one of the reasons that I tend to prefer PlayStation than Xbox is I've always preferred a little bit like the whole look and feel of the PlayStation environment, so to speak.
Dashboard.
Yeah, like they're going to give you some extra capabilities to update the look and feel of how things work. So I'll be very interested to see that. I've always found, I know you like it. I think a bit of it is familiarity as well, but I've always found it a little bit hard to navigate around the Xbox uh, interface. So I'll be very interested in that, and just the look and feel as well is something that's interesting. The other one that caught my eye, not to something I would use, but I was more interested in your take. But they were bringing mouse and keyboard support to, I think, pretty much every game, or a lot of games at least anyway. And I was like, I'm not a I love mouse and keyboard when I'm playing PC. It's the way to go, especially if it's a first person shooter. However, in front of the console, I don't really have a spot to put a mouse and keyboard in front of me where it would be convenient. Like, is there a lot of people clamoring for that? Is that something you would use?
So my son uses mouse and keyboard on his console all the time.
Hmm.
He has his mouse, like if he's not playing on his PC, which he hasn't been for quite a while now because he lost his privileges with that. But if he'll on his console, he'll plug in the keyboard and mouse right away.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of games, like if he plays Minecraft, it's keyboard and mouse. If he's playing
Interesting.
Halo, it's keyboard and mouse. Like he always. So that said, this is for, I think, the cloud, if I'm not crazy. It was listed in here. Yeah, cloud gaming
Okay.
updates. I think it was keyboard and mouse for cloud, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Yeah.
cloud gaming is now
Okay.
available. So I don't know. I would have to try it
Hmm.
because typically keyboard and mouse doesn't feel good at even 30 FPS because you feel that little bit of extra latency and it just makes what is normally a very crisp experience start to feel a bit mushy. With a controller, you don't notice that as much because there's dead zones on the thumbsticks already. So all that stuff kind of mushes together and you don't really notice it as much, I find. So it'll be interesting to see. I'd have to try it, I think, to know what that would feel like. Personally, I think the latency might bug me.
Hmm.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to get. I'll have to give it a try.
I
I
find it
guess I
interesting.
could just on my PC. I could just stream a game on my PC and see what it feels like. But
One of the things I find interesting in general is like how do they decide on the priorities for these things? Like, as I say, that's why I was asking you as someone who's more of a PC guy in general. Like, is there so many people saying why don't we have uh, keyboard and mouse and Xbox Cloud Gaming? It's not something that's even within my hemisphere, right? Like, I don't even think about things like that.
I think for people that are streaming games on their PC through the Xbox app, the natural tendency is to go with keyboard and mouse.
Mm.
So I think that's where what would probably be driving this in my mind. Um, that's for people on console. I don't see why that would be a thing. Really, they're not
Mm.
expecting it, other unless you're like my son. I mean, I've played when I had my Series X hooked up to my monitor. I played Halo with keyboard and mouse on my console, and it works great. Like personally, I think every game should just include keyboard and mouse support for the most part on console, just because like there's a lot of games and you hear this complaint from Xbox owners that they're second class citizens to PC because a lot of games that Microsoft produced were PC exclusive, like their Age of Empires and junk like that, right? Like
Mm.
eventually now some of them are showing up, but had they had keyboard and mouse support on Xbox, you could have just dumped the game on Xbox and said, hey, keyboard and mouse required.
Yeah, that's a good that's a good use case actually, because like whenever I see something like I love Civilization on PC. Whenever I see
Sure.
Civilization advertised on PlayStation, I'm like, oh my god, I can't even imagine playing that
Yeah,
game with a controller.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's not really set up that way, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know why they don't just make it standard, but this is the one actually here that was probably the most interesting to me. And not so much that I switch between Wi Fi networks all the time. It's just that sometimes I switch between wired and wireless. And
Mm.
every time I'd go back and forth, at least if I'm remembering right, I'd have to reconnect to the wireless. And occasionally, like I've got multiple different wireless setups in my house. There's different SSIDs for different segments of my network. Sometimes I like to switch between them. So having it remember those will make that experience a lot easier for me. So I'm actually quite happy to see that. It's long overdue. The personalization of backgrounds, meh. I don't know. I don't care too much about that. Um, I guess it's cool for those that are into it. The tiles on the Xbox hide so much of it anyway. Like, shrink that down. I like, in general, I would agree that PS5's dashboard's just cleaner.
Yeah.
If I was to say what's my favorite dashboard, it's PS4. I still like the way the PS4 was set up. I like that I could create folders of my games and organize stuff.
I love the folder system because there's
Yeah. Where
especially
the
like
hell is that, PlayStation? Like, why did you drop that?
yeah, that makes no sense. Like, and it was so popular as far as I understand.
Yeah.
Like, people were clamoring for it, and then they got it, and everyone was happy because what I
Yeah.
find, I just break things, and this is going back to our like big catalog of shame or pile of shame. Like
Yeah.
when I bought a AAA title that I didn't play straight away, I could just go to my AAA folder and say, okay, I know there's a bunch of good games in there that I haven't played for a while. Whereas if it's Xbox, if it's PlayStation 5 now, that'll be like way at the end of the list of my library or whatever, and I'll forget all
Yeah.
about it. Like
Yeah.
I like to keep like 5 or 6 games, even if I haven't played recently, say, okay, these are games I know I gotta play. And I check in every now and again, say, do I now feel like picking it up or whatever? So, yeah, and just as a way, as you say, to organize things for your kids as well and stuff. And, like,
Yeah.
Connor's games are always there or whatever. Like, and yeah, I like the PS4 one as well. And your point, I just find it cleaner. I find even in the PS5, I find usually it's one click to bring up what I want versus pressing it and then going somewhere and pressing another one, and which I find is more the Xbox way of doing things. But that's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a huge miss, in my opinion, for the PS5. Bring back the folders. Like, I don't know why they don't have that, because
I
that was
hear
great. I loved it.
Here's the other thing as well. Even if they bring it back in the future, which they may do, like, why the hell wouldn't you launch with it? Like, it was something that people were waiting for years on the PS4. You give it to them, and as soon as you give it, then you take it away. Like
It's just dumb.
yeah,
Like, I mean, personally, the PS4 dashboard was so good. Why didn't they just leave it alone? There's a lot of little things in the way the PS5's laid out that I don't like. And in some areas, I prefer the Xbox dashboard, but I like how much cleaner the PS5 dashboard feels.
yeah.
But there's some stuff there, the way they hide things away, and even just searching through the like PS Plus, for instance, I don't find it very well thought out, to me anyway. Maybe for someone else's brain it works. For mine, it doesn't really fit well, but uh, yeah, I don't know. It's nice to see Xbox is still thinking about their dashboard, and they're still thinking about their console, and they're adding features. I mean, they've been consistently quite good at doing that ever since Xbox One. I mean, and the original dashboard that kind of sucked, that kind of mimicked mimicked Windows 8, that horrible Metro like
Yeah.
tile based.
That
Oh
was
god,
rough.
that was horrible. So, it didn't take too long, and they got rid of that, and they started, cleaning up the dashboard. And I mean, this is just another step in that evolution, I guess. But it's nice to see they're looking at it. They're still doing updates to their PC app. That thing's a piece of junk. They should just convert over to BattleNet or something probably at this point. Although BattleNet annoys me too. Like, it'll disconnect if I connect to a VPN. It logs me out. I hate that. I always have to remember to close the app first. That's dumb. Every other game app I have doesn't do that, but BattleNet does. Even the Xbox app doesn't log me out when I connect to a VPN. It's like, I don't know, stupid crap that's just irritating. That's part of getting old, man.
I was going to
You
say
get
like
old, you get
I,
grumpy.
I was going to say like you're sounding like the real elder statesman here, like sitting down and back in my day, like when we had 2 sticks and a log to play with.
You never got logged out of your stick. It always just stayed. Yeah, no, it is stupid. I don't know, but anyway, This helps shape the future of Xbox. I used to get surveys from them. I don't anymore. I don't know. I was a part of their insider program. They used to send me surveys. I used to always have to sign the NDA that I wouldn't disclose that I even got the survey and blah blah blah. And
I just find the whole thing interesting. Like, I just find it so confusing. Like, and we, going back a couple of weeks when we talked about the showcase, like such excitement with Xbox. A couple of weeks before then, looks like Xbox is dead. Now they're putting it on. And I find the whole, what are you guys doing? Like, what is it? Are you just trying to throw us off all the time? Like, I don't get it.
They're just trolling, man.
Yeah.
They're just like their executive team. They're just a bunch of trolls. They're like, let's F with them differently this week. We'll send them out this, see what they do. I don't know. It's good though. I'm glad they're doing stuff with it.
I am too.
It's I hope they've got some secret sauce that keeps the people invested in their hardware platform. And it sounds like they still intend to have console launch exclusives. So maybe that means all these games we saw at that showcase, maybe they're coming to Xbox first, and 6 months or a year later they dump them on PlayStation, or maybe they take PlayStation strategy and it's like a couple years later, and who knows. But I hope they do enough to keep people interested. I'd hate to see the hardware platform die. I'd like to see it thrive and provide more competition to Sony, because that keeps Sony on their toes. There's so much going on, but the interesting thing I have seen is more people talking positively about Xbox because of that showcase.
Oh, for sure. How could you not? Like, how could you not? I mean, well, especially in comparison to PlayStation. I mean,
there was no comparison.
Yeah.
It was an outstanding show. Said it when we watched it. I can't think of a better showcase I've seen. Maybe there was one that I'm just not thinking of anymore because it was so long ago. But very impressive. Very impressive. Do you have anything else you want to say about this, Finn? Or should we wrap it up? Because we're just creeping over that 30-minute mark for this one too now. So, this being part 2 and the last part of episode 4 and whatnot.
Very confusing.
It is. Has anyone managed to watch this whole thing? I don't know.
Act 2 of part 4.
Only the analytics will be able to tell us the story as to whether or not this works for people. But anyway, any final thoughts on Xbox and the dashboard? Okay, cool. Let's wrap it up. Do your thing.
All right, you can get me at Fintintin, as it says there, on Twitter, and Fintintin without the one on both Xbox and PlayStation.
And I am at Mental9R on X. I'm using the proper name for the platform, as it did change, and Finn's still years behind.
Back in my day when they really tweeted.
When X was called Twitter. Things were different. And anyway, you can find me also Mental9R on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, just about anywhere you play games. That is my handle, or Nick, whatever you want to call it. And of course, YouTube, I am at Caffeine Entertainment. On Rumble, it is Caffeine Entertainment, but I don't have that custom URL thing with the @ symbol. They don't do that. But you can find us there as well. And thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. And if you didn't like the video, hit that thumbs down. Let us know why in the comments, because we're still rookies and we're just trying to get better. We can't do that without your help. Thanks for watching. I'm Mental9R. This is Caffeine Entertainment. It's time to wake up and play some games.